Cavalry, cavalry, cavalry. Today's video for the Roots of War guys is going to be all about the cavalry talents and their builds and probably the prediction of their roles for the Roots of War upcoming event. So stick around in this video because we'll be breaking down each and every cavalry commander's talents and what I suspect each will have their role in the upcoming Roots of War. What is up guys, MEOWER here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. Before we get started, we're going to be continuing our Roots of War guide series on this channel. I will leave the link to the playlist so far. In case you missed it, we had a video for archers and we had a video for infantry, and now we'll be working on our favorite speedy boys, the cavalry. Cavalry and Roots of War, I believe, are going to have a niche role, but that niche role is going to be very impactful if you are able to use them properly. So we don't really have that many cavalry commanders in the game just yet, as the two other new cavalry commanders are still coming in September. So all we have to work with here is just 3 cavalry commanders, and we're just mainly going to be focusing on their builds and their roles for each build and the reason for why each build is better for which commander. So that being said, let's get started. We're going to be starting with our speedy boy Emrys. Emrys usually doesn't really have the best trees. That is why we're going to be building him based on a sort of like the same idea as what we built him in the land of Tamaris. We want him to be fast, we want him to hit hard, and most of all, he's going to be very squishy with this build. So we're going to be going for a mix of mobility, a mix of cavalry tree, and a mix of the PvP tree for just maximizing the amount of damage we can put off in the open field for as fast as possible, because Emrys' main role is going to be hit and run. He's not meant for prolonged fightings, and he's definitely meant for more of farm killing. Meaning just hunting down anything that is retreating or hunting down the Lunabrite pools. So this is, of course, in my opinion, and this is the build I'm going to be personally trying out. So we put a point here, and then we're gonna go for 2 here, and then we're gonna go for overall HP because Emrys loves March speed. Emrys is a speedy commander and he's all about the March speed. So we're gonna pick up everything in the overall speed here, and we're gonna be picking up the March speed of the cavalry speed in the cavalry tree. Next up, we're gonna go for increasing the attack. We're going to be taking 2 points in March speed, and then we're going to be taking 3 points in adrenaline rush, and then finally we might go for swift maneuvers or we can go for preemptive preparations. But personally, I think preemptive preparation is just a better thing because he's more of hit and run. So you want to hit as fast, as hard as possible. Sorry, you want to hit as hard as possible in the first few minutes that you make contact, so that you get the most value of any thing you do as a cavalry commander, especially a squishy one such as Emrys. Next up, we're going to go for the PvP tree. We want to take 2 points here, and then we're going to go 3 points here, and then we're going to go for Fury Flame. We want as much skill damage as possible, and then finally we're going to go for Army of Valor in case the battle gets prolonged. I know it's a little bit counterproductive, or how do I say it? I'm missing the word here, but I know it's like Oh yeah, it's contradictive than what I just said. But in case the battle takes long, having that extra damage buff is always welcome. Okay, and then we're gonna go for dealing over normal attack damage is more important than the cavalry attack. We're just gonna take 2 points here just for that extra 1%, and then we're gonna go for intimidation for that extra hero skill damage, and then finally we're gonna go for um, perfect ferocity again, just for that extra oomph that you get for hitting, and then we're gonna take 1 more point in the overall attack of Cavalry. This is the build that I'm personally going to be running on Emrys Primary. You might be wondering why I didn't go for the rest of the mobility tree or the rest of the Cavalry tree or the rest of the PvP tree, mainly because they don't really offer much that Emrys needs to fit his role, especially in a map like Roots of War. You want to hit as fast, as hard as possible in the first few seconds, and you want to try to one-shot any gathering march that you come in contact to, because there's not really much space for you to be able to run around and be able to pick off retreating forces. So you want to be sneaky, you want to be fast, and you want to hit hard. Okay, I would even recommend just completely dropping this defense and going all in on the march speed, because you want to be fast again, you want to hit hard. Being tanky or not is not questioned, because Emrys is a squishy commander by nature, and well, you're gonna get one shot anyways, so you might as well just be a proper glass cannon, just runs around the map and one shotting all the gatherers. For standard PvP though, we're gonna be using our boy Bakshi. The reason for that is because Bakshi has access to the skill tree. The skill tree is fantastic for PvP, and he's able to cycle his skills more frequently. That is going to help him be able to hit people more. We're going to, of course, be using skills as our primary tree, and then we're going to be using, first of all, we're going to be grabbing this. We're going to be grabbing as much attack as possible instead of normal attack, because this attack helps our skill factor, and Bakshi is all about hitting those skills, his cycling the skills, picking off ranged commanders, picking off range, making use of the cavalry skill that activates their rage as soon as you come in contact with anyone. So we're going to get even more skill damage, and then of course we're going to go for perfect ferocity just to take that extra damage when entering the field, and then we're going to go for overall attack. We're gonna go for intimidation again, getting that extra hero skill damage, and then we're gonna go for high spirits just to be able to rage cycle even more. It doesn't matter if you hit the rage cap on cavalry, especially because it's not always consistent that you're gonna hit it, but getting those skill cycles is far more important. Next up, we're gonna grab Unquenchable Will. We're gonna go for the crit of focus. We might go for Raging Tide, but I personally prefer having Steady Hands. That is just so much better. And getting Synergy, of course, is amazing, because you do gain a buff effect that is Passion. You get the extra HP from Bakshi. You get the potential slight healing from Bakshi that again acts as a buff. So you make a lot of use from Steady Hands, and you can even have a permanent uptime on it. That is much more valuable than having 15% hero skill crit rate damage that is not even that frequent to happen. And then finally, we're going to go for Caged Animal just to be able to cycle those skill damages even more, because they just provide way too much value not to leave it. And then finally, for our last point, we're going to grab Detached, just again to emphasize even further on us wanting to get even more skill damage as possible. That is it for Bakshi. We're gonna go for Alistar. Alistar is probably one of the most useless commanders in Call of Dragons right now, but we're gonna build him just for the sake of it. Okay, Alistar is gonna take more of a tanky route. I know he shouldn't really be tanking with Cavalry, but his talents don't really help us too much, anyways, and there's not really much flexibility for us to do with him. So we're just gonna go for Shield of Stability, we're gonna go for overall defense, we're gonna go for the March Speed from Cavalry. The reason why I don't bother with the rest of the Cavalry is because Bloodmark is pretty weak and inescapable. While yes, it seems strong, but this is pretty insignificant. Like 3 seconds is absolutely nothing for having a 30-second cooldown. So that is why we don't really bother wasting any points to try to get to that. It's just way too weak for it to matter in comparison to other talents, especially in the skills in the trees such as Emrys' tree or Bakshi's tree. And then we're gonna go for 2 points in attack, 3 points in normal attack damage. We're gonna rage cycle, and 1 point here, intimidation, and then of course perfect ferocity. There's just no other alternative than perfect ferocity. We're gonna go for the march speed, and then we're gonna put 1 point intimidation. We're gonna get the encouraging dance, and then we're gonna go for unyielding spirit. I'm gonna go for HP. HP is always most valuable. Doesn't matter what troop type we have. HP is always the go-to. And then we're gonna go for Cloaked Wrath. And finally, of course, we're gonna go for Hearts of Iron. Now, I don't really recommend running Alistar at all. Like, if you don't have Bakshi or Emrys decently, I would even recommend even going for Cavalry, since both of them now are gold key commanders, so they're pretty obtainable for free to play and pay to win alike. So that is pretty much my recommendations for Cavalry for the Roots of War. I don't think Cavalry are gonna be that impactful as it is in the map of Tamaris, though I might be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong for all the Cavalry mains out there. But I just don't see them being that impactful outside outside of the marches that are gonna have the blink skill that are gonna be able to blink over the gaps and the bridges and all the choke points that are present on the map. But yeah, that is my thoughts on the talents and builds. Of course, if you like content like this, please don't forget to drop a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.